This is Voice of Freedom on Freedom 107, talking with Congressman Louie Gohmert. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thanks for doing it.
Hey, always good to talk to you.
All right, Congressman Gohmert, here's what we've got. We've got a federal budget situation on our hands here. What exactly is going on with the budget, and how do we fix it?
Well, first of all, it's the old thing everybody in East Texas knows, and that is if you're in a hole, you stop digging. And we just keep digging. And, I just can't help but remember in 2006, my freshman term, but we had a $161 billion deficit that year, and the Democrats were rightfully beating up on the Republicans because we had the majority, and we shouldn't have been deficit spending $161 billion. But I would never have believed that within 5 years, those people that were complaining and moaning about $161 billion budget would run it up to $1.75 trillion budget. So, I mean, this is an insane level of spending. You bring it back, and actually, I wasn't involved in preparing the Republican pledge last fall, but it was a good pledge. Unfortunately, our leadership has not stepped up and helped us keep that as we should, despite some of our harping. But it says we'll go back to pre-stimulus, pre-bailout spending. That's 2007. That was around $2.5 or $6 trillion. Now, the new revised figures say that's about how much we're going to receive in the Treasury. Well, Jeff, if we do that, we're in good shape. And you just tell everybody, look, the country was surviving in 2007, actually doing quite well. That's what we're going to spend. That's what your budget's going to be. And, Paul Ryan did a brave thing putting together the budget he did. But actually, Paul's budget doesn't balance for 26 years. As I've told our guys, if we don't balance the budget before 26 years, this country won't be here in 26 years. So we do that, and a great start would be we have Obamacare that all indications seem, the best indications are, it should be held unconstitutional. Well, we're spending $105 billion putting all of the mechanics in place. We ought to stop that immediately. That's one of the demands I have for even thinking about raising the debt ceiling. The other is a balanced budget amendment that has a cap, 18% of GDP for spending. So you just don't keep raising like we have from 18, 19, 20 up to 25+% of GDP. You put a cap on that. So that's a good start.
Are you kind of surprised that there has not been more outcry from the public about this issue? Because when I'm talking to people about this, their eyes tend to glaze over a little bit because I think, one, when you start talking about billions and trillions of dollars, a lot of people don't even understand what that really means. But secondly, I think what bothers me the most is I don't think people really understand the severity of the situation right now. How do we fix that? How do we get across to the American people that we are in a dire place right now?
Well, traveling all over East Texas and speaking to folks, and even more important, hearing from them. And a couple of weeks ago, I was up in Saline County, Arkansas, speaking to their Republican group. But I've been talking to people all over. It seems like the people get it. It's the media is not focused as much as they should be on that issue, because if they were, they would be holding the president more accountable, the speaker more accountable, and Harry Reid more accountable. Those are the leaders who could just change everything, and the media's not holding them accountable. But, man, everywhere I go, that's what people want to talk about.
That's great. I'm glad that that's happening because, again, to me, this is one of the problems we are facing in this great country right now is that we will be brought to our knees if we don't fix this budget situation and stop spending money we don't have.
Well, that's right. And since you are focused on the issue, we need you with the national hundreds and hundreds of radio stations carrying your show so that we get the message out there.
Well, I happen to agree with you about that. That'd be a great thing to do. All right.
No, you get it. And apparently that's because you're close enough to the people, you understand the dangers, and you've looked at the issues. And it just irritates me to no end that we have not done more in the House. We haven't used the leverage we have, and man, is the debt ceiling an important piece of leverage to rescue this country from the brink of bankruptcy. But we have to be, this is such an important issue, we need to be willing to do whatever it takes to cut the spending and bring President Obama and Harry Reid around in the process.
Yeah, do you really think that the debt limit will, in the debt ceiling, be lifted? Will it go a little bit higher? If so, what will we get in concessions for that, you think?
Well, that's the problem. As one of the freshmen here had commented, when two people sit down to negotiate at a table and one of them makes clear they're unwilling to table, then that's the person that loses the negotiation. And we lost that negotiation in the lame duck, so that even though the Democrats had taken the worst thrashing since the 1930s, most accounts are they had the most productive, unfortunately unproductive for the country, but another $55 billion was spent in the lame duck session, and then on the CR, we promised $100 billion, and our leader said, "Well, no, $61 billion would be more fair because it's you got to prorate it for the amount of the year that's left." The American public seemed to accept that, and then turn around and say, "Well, it'll be $39 billion, not $61," and then it turns out it was only $352 million. I mean, we've got to have leadership willing to say, saving this country from the brink of bankruptcy is so important to me. I will walk away from the table. I will do whatever it takes. I'll use all the leverage I've got to bring down this spending, because we can't survive another 4 years of trillion-dollar deficits, which is what Obama projects, and actually in the Ryan budget, it doesn't do much better than that for the next 4 years.